So much for being here. It's so inspiring and encouraging to be together on Saturday mornings like this. Thank you all for being here. I pray you will all come every Saturday and more often if possible, but at least every Saturday we can all come together like this. It's so nice. I want to thank the TKG Academy girls, Vara, Gandharvika, Radhe, and ISKCON, along with Draupadi and Mother Lakshmi Priya for making cinnamon rolls for breakfast this morning. And yeah, thank you so much to them. And thank you to all of you for being here. So we're very fortunate to have class today by His Grace Parameshwar Prabhu. He is, I've learned in the last week or so, the #1 book distributor in the world, and I believe of all time is what I'm understanding. So we're very fortunate to have his association here in Dallas, and look forward to hearing from you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parvarajikacharya Astatar Satashishi Shamad Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Sankirtan Yaga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo So I've been told to summarize the whole chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1 through, Canto 4, Chapter 1, and the whole chapter titled Genealogical Table of the Daughters of Manu. Om again. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, this deals with the secondary creation. Of course, the primary creation is Krishna glancing at material nature. And who is that glance? Does anybody know? There you go, Lord Shiva. So that is the primary creation. And the secondary creation, of course, is who? Who starts the secondary creation? Brahma, yes. The self-born, without the help of Lakshmi, Narayan begot Brahma, right? So that's pretty impressive. So there's another reason why we shouldn't think we are God. Try to create a kid without a lady around. I don't think you can do it. So, and then from Brahma, we got his sons, and Svayambhuva Manu is one of his sons, and he begot 3 daughters and his wife Satarupa, who were named Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. Does anybody remember how many children Devahuti had?
1.
Oh. How many? Yeah. A son. Yeah. And who is it? Thank you, yes. Who is that son? Right. So today we're going to learn about the text that we're going to focus on is text 30, and who also wanted a son, but not necessarily God, but somebody exactly like God. Does anybody know? He's not considered a pure devotee because he didn't say, I want my son to be God. He said, I want a son exactly like God. Atri Muni? Yeah, and we're gonna gradually go into that. So, there's a lot here. I'm gonna, I guess, quickly summarize it. So let me maybe I should read this doesn't have an introduction, that's okay. You have many amazing beings coming from these daughters of Svayambhuva Manu, and we have the Ganga in there somewhere in the lineage, Mother Ganga, and Dakshina, the Lord of ritualistic performances. Yagya later married Dakshina, who is anxious to have the personality of God as her husband, and his wife. The Lord was also very much pleased to begot 12 children, and they are listed here. And there was also, Svayambhuva Manu knew that the Supreme Being was going to appear as called Yagya, the Lord of Sacrifices, who took the post of Indra. I probably shouldn't assume, but I assume because it wasn't a qualified post for that. I think I've read that somewhere. So, and so Svayambhuva Manu pulled I forgot what rite it's called, where you can actually give your daughter to somebody as charity, and then you owe me the son. So he knew that son would be Krishna, an expansion of Krishna, incarnation of Krishna. So he did that. Unfortunately, it stated that there was twins, an expansion of Krishna, an expansion of Vishnu, an expansion of Lakshmi. So that son, through that wife, or was it a grandson? I'm so sorry. It's hard to read this whole chapter, so it's so much here. So I'm going to get into what is focused on for today's verse, and that is Atri Muni was asked to, Brahma needs progeny to fill the universes. So we've got Dakshina in this lineage, you got, progenitors, and from these beings, all the living entities are created, basically. And they're not just ordinary persons, like we have this body of flesh and blood, but we have demigods, all kinds of far out things, creatures, different species, and so forth and so on. Imagine having a kid and it's a rhinoceros or something like that, you know? It's like, whoa, far out. Or like some Rakshasa, you know? One of these lineages, she begot Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and I think Vibhushana. So at least those two for sure. So imagine having Ravana as your child and Kumbhakarna. Can you imagine that? You try to teach them, come on, chant Hare Krishna. Don't just chant Hare Krishna so good. Wow, what a trouble that would be. You want to have Ravana as your Gurukul children, you know? And you're trying to teach Ravana about Hare Krishna, yeah? So, thank you, Baru. So the focus on here, we can go into, I might remember, oh yes, and we also have in this chapter the appearance of Narayan Rishi. So this is quite elaborate, this incarnation is also listed later in the chapter. But the focus today will be on text 30, and I'll just, I guess, repeat the Sanskrit. We'll do the Sanskrit. Deva uchu yatakritas te sankalpo bhavyam tanaiva nanyata satsankalpasya te brahman yadvai jayati te vayam Deva uchu yatakritas te sankalpo bhavyam tanaiva nanyata satsankalpasya te brahman yadvai jayati te vayam. Deva uchu Deva uchu. The demigods replied, Yata, as, Krita, done, Te, by you, Sankalpa, determination, Bhavyam, to be done, Tena eva, by that, Na anyata, not otherwise, Sat Sankalpasya, one whose determination is never lost. Te, of you, Brahman, O dear Brahmana, Yat, that which, Vai, certainly, Jayati, meditating, Te, all of them, Vayam, we are. Translation, the three deities told Atri Muni. So just backing up a little bit. So this leads into my class. I think you might be able to predict a little bit what my focus is going to be on. But Atri Muni was asked to, produce progeny, and he goes to perform, many austerities, and he has this desire for a son exactly like God. But he doesn't really know who God is. But he knows that, that would be a good thing. So he here, since he didn't have a very specific understanding of God, we have 3. God means controller. So 3 controllers appear to him. After he performs so much austerity, there's like fire coming out of his head. A little bit, not the same as, he's not like Hiranyakashipu, but performed austerities for the sake of pleasing Brahma and, progeny and so forth. So he wants a son exactly like God. And so 3 controllers come by, and that is, who would they be? Yeah, Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu come by. So these 3 deities told Atri Muni, here he is, he's on one leg, performing these austerities, and he sees them and he hops over on one leg. Kind of funny explanation here. And the 3 deities told Atri Muni, dear Brahmana, Atri Muni's like blown away, right? You got somebody on a Garuda, somebody on the bull. What's the bull's name? Forgot. None. And the Brahma's on the swan. Yeah, swan carrier. So, can you imagine that? The 3 deities told Atri Muni, dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore, as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and therefore we have all come to you. Please repeat. The 3 deities told Atri Muni, dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore you have decided. And therefore as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating. And therefore, we have all come to you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Atri Muni unspecifically thought of the personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, although he had no clear idea of the Lord of the universe, nor of his specific form. Mahavishnu, from whose breathing millions of universes emanate, and into whom they are again withdrawn, may be accepted as the Lord of the universe. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, from whose abdomen sprouted the lotus flower, which is the birthplace of Brahma, may also be considered the Lord of the universe. Similarly, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who is the supersoul of all living entities, may also be considered the Lord of the universe. Then, under the order of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the Vishnu form within this universe, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva may also be accepted as the lords of the universe. So just to make it very clear, it's funny, I remember T.K. Goswami going to India and got a group of people there, Indians, and he goes, so who is God? That's the question, who is God? You seen that video? It's awesome. And you got to admit, weren't you a little bit shocked at their answers? They did not know who God was. Almost every one of them didn't even know who God was. And they're from India, my goodness. One was saying Brahma, another one saying Shiva, another one saying Ganesh or whatever. It's like, hello? My goodness. So, Atri Muni did not receive one of Prabhupada's books, right? Otherwise, these pages might not have been in this Bhagavatam. So it's Krishna's arrangement, maybe. Anyways, so Brahma is the most pious living entity in the material dimension, or in the material universe. So he gets the post of creating the universe and overseeing everything. And but that's a jiva almost always. When there's no jiva to take the post, then Krishna can take the post. Otherwise, that's a jiva. And Shiva is part Krishna and part Jiva. It's a unique position that only he has. And of course Vishnu is God. So, Vishnu is the Lord of the universe because he is the maintainer. Similarly, Brahma creates the different planetary systems and the population. So he also may be considered the Lord of the universe. Or Lord Shiva, who is ultimately the destroyer of the universe, also may be considered its Lord. Therefore, since Atri Muni did not specifically mention whom he wanted, all three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, came before him. They said, since you were thinking of having a son exactly like the Supreme Personality Godhead, the Lord of the universe, your determination will be fulfilled. In other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. I'll repeat that. This is a powerful statement here. In other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.25, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan Patir Yanti Patir Vrataha. If one is attached to a particular demigod, one is promoted to that abode of that demigod. If one is attached to the Pittas or forefathers, one is promoted to their planet. And similarly, if one is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, one is promoted to the abode of Lord Krishna. Atri Muni had no clear conception of the Lord of the universe. Therefore, the three presiding deities, who are actually the lords of the universe, and the three departments of the modes of nature, all came before him. Now, according to the strength of his determination for a son, his desire would be fulfilled by the grace of the Lord. Om Agyanti Maradasya Jananchana Shalakya Chakshulaminita Tasmai Shri Guru Vedamaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishnam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupagaramayam Dadati Svabarantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation repeated. The three deities told Atri Muni, Dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore, as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and therefore we have all come to you. So does anybody know? So basically Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu send some plenary portions of them as Atri Muni's sons. Does anybody know who they are? Can you take a guess with Shiva? No, Shiva's got Durvasa Muni. So that's Atri's son in that plenary expansion. And how about Brahma, the moon god? Is that Soma? Yeah. And Vishnu, Dattatreya. Yeah. So imagine that would be far out having those kids. Can you imagine having Durvasa Muni as your child? Mother, if you don't cook this just nicely, you're going to be cursed to become a crocodile. Mother, okay, this is good enough. Okay, I bless you. Yes. You'd be an amazing cook. That'd be a great way to become that'd be the best way to become a really good cook. Anyway, sorry. Hare Krishna. So, let's see here. So, the main theme I got out of this, just because I distribute books by the mercy of Krishna, or Krishna distributes books and uses me for that. So, here we have Atri Muni didn't really know who God is. And just because of some, as my father says, we operate in the best light we have. I mean, can you blame Hitler? Can you blame any of these people? Is that cow that's beaten like anything, and who was it? Mars Briggs saw the cow, or I can't remember. Sorry, it's been a while since I read that part of the Bhagavatam. You ask, who did this to you? And of course the cow is an advanced being. It says, well, was it my karma? Or was it the modes of nature? Maybe it's, just destiny. And he didn't say, look, it was this person, right? Because he's more elevated knowledge. I think that was, Dharmaraj actually was the cow. So, and he understands religion, and he doesn't think, well, he did this to me, right? So he's thinking in a broader, bigger picture of things. So we operate in the best light we have. We see the world as going on. If anybody want to pick up the news, Prabhupada wasn't recommending that so much, but I might want to check it real quickly once a day to see if you have to do something crazy, or whatever, right? Especially with things going on today. And you see, basically, or you just go outside the temple a little bit, and you see how the world is. And you see people operating in the best light they have. And that's the best light they have. And you see going to the Hare Krishna Center, and you see people operating completely differently, because that's the light that they have, right? The knowledge base. They've been giving different knowledge. A different understanding is there. Different degrees of enlightenment or ignorance is there. So from that degrees of enlightenment, we see things taking place in the world. And this is a lower middle planet. Can you imagine what hellish planets are kind of like, and more going to goodness planets. It's just operating differently. So, those that are of sufficient intelligence, highly intelligent beings, they're engaged in the Sankirtan Yogya of trying to spread Krishna consciousness, because this is the best use of human energy. As Hanuman Prashak Swami Maharaj says, that we can see how well educated people are. A little note to the educational institution here. He said, we can see how educated people are by how well they are plugged into the Sankirtan mission of spreading the Hare Krishna movement. That's how our minister of education sees how well people are educated. So we can see the Guru Kulis, are they plugged in nicely to the Sankirtan mission or not? To that degree, we've succeeded in our educating them. Because what is the value of, you can go to any of these universities, well, at least almost everyone, and see professors who don't have knowledge through a parampara, unbroken lineage of realized masters, and they're very well educated, so-called educated in the scriptures. I recall something with Prabhupada having a dialogue with a professor, and Prabhupada would present his, parampara, spread Lord Chaitanya's mission, understanding of it, and this other person would present a completely different understanding. And they would both quote back and forth. Finally the professor says, well, as many quotes as you can give, I can give too, promoting my point. So therefore, and Prabhupada ends it with, I'm presenting the mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you're not. I mean, you didn't say that part, but, that's what it comes down to. So are we nicely plugged into the Sankirtan mission? To that degree, our light is topmost. And Prabhupada, 78% of the qualities of God you can have, maximum. Prabhupada has that in full. Totally pure devotee has that in full. Shining, blazing as can be. And within all of his books, perfectly presents the entire parampara theme. I mean, at one point I was locked down in Vrindavan for 5 months, and said, okay, well, let me see, if, just, inquiring mind wants to know, did Prabhupada really give us the stuff without, because you hear people talk actually, right? Well, Prabhupada didn't give us this or that. So, okay, let's see. So I read the six Goswami stuff, at least a lot of it. And I'm 100% completely blown away. In fact, I don't think it's humanly possible for Prabhupada to do what he did, to perfectly delineate all that in a perfectly digestible way. It's completely inconceivable. When people say that Prabhupada said, well, I didn't write these books, Krishna dictated to me what to write. I mean, that's the only conclusion I can come to. There's no way anybody could do that, in my opinion. I mean, maybe it's possible, but from my perspective, it's not. So, perfectly delineating it all, so that we can digest it just right, and get the complete, not only just the essence, but all the details that one needs to progress. So we have that light. We want to take advantage of that light by reading it regularly and disseminating it. Plugging in nicely to practically into spreading the Krishna consciousness movement has to include somewhere with book distribution. In fact, Prabhupada says all of our activities that we do in this Krishna consciousness movement culminates in this one activity of book distribution, because we want to educate the people. If we're at all a Tikshara Karunika, a devotee of any kind, we learned from H.D. Goswami's class, wonderful class, my goodness, and that we're not gonna make it back home to Godhead if we don't enter into the preaching field, if we don't get in the preaching mood. Without that preaching mood, we become stagnant, and the weeds around the devotional creeper grow, and so many weeds, that we have subtle and gross sense gratification. You might be following the four regular principles nicely, handled the gross part perhaps, but then the subtle part, seeking fame, adoration, and distinction. How are we going to get free from this? Because here we see Atri Muni's desire locked in. I remember when I was a kid, I think I was 12, my dad wanted to move. He's an electrical engineer. And he says, well, where would you like to go? Go to India, Dallas, Tucson, California. So I thought through it. Well, India, that would be far out. That's where the spiritual stuff is. But what happens if I want to get married or something? What my materiality be like? And I thought Dallas. And for some reason I knew there was a Gurukul here. And I wasn't didn't have the mindset for that at that point. And California, I said, it's way too degraded. And I'm going to get really messed up. But Tucson is kind of a spiritual place. I could probably advance, figure things out from there. So I had that in my heart. And boom, we go. So, wherever that desire is, Krishna's fulfilling all that. It's such a subtle thing, just like the golf ball, You just have a little funky thought, and that ball will not get a hole in one. And if you're way off, forget it, into the sand trap or into the water pond. So if this desire thing is so subtle, so incredibly subtle, and that's the power of working under authorities. And because we might think that, I can do better this way, but if we work under that authoritative structure that Prabhupada has designed so nicely, or Krishna designed, then the Guru, it might be uncomfortable, you might not like it, but you're not going to be watering those weeds. Those weeds are incredible. They can grow so powerful and suck out all the the water, like around, it's described that the weeds around the pond. In fact, being raised in Tucson, you'd look for ponds in the summertime, and there'd be a lot of weeds around there, and they'd suck out the water. So instead of feeding the creeper, the weeds become super strong, and that's not going to do it for us. And weeds can appear in so many different ways. This subtle thing of, I'm better than you, I'm more senior than you, I've done this more, I'm doing this so that I can get all the big amount of book points so that everybody can just bow down to me, and I can then from there I can take over this place and then take over the universe, right? I mean, it's like, the old days of Kamsa, They were seeking, they got defeated by the demigods, and so they figured, let's just take over some insignificant planet, good old Earth, and they're smart. I mean, they've got some knowledge, they're smart, they figured, well, from here we'll take over the universe, but let's not appear as humans. Some of us can appear as tigers, because in a tiger body, you can eat a sage and not get any karma from it. So yeah, I mean, it's clever, but it doesn't win, right? So it's a weed. It can look pretty good. And Jarasandha was an incredible giver of charity, and anybody you ask anything from, Brahmana asks anything, he'll give his head for that. You want my body? Here you go. Whatever. So it's important that our desire is pure. And this subtle thing is such a subtle thing. Littlest thing can just throw us off. And we know we've got it right when you see Krishna, when Krishna appears in your vision. You know you have it right when you're doing your job and you have the pastimes of Krishna flooding into your heart. There's no more static. As Prabhupada says, there's a television set in the heart. So how are we going to we have to constantly fine-tune that. And that takes an enormous amount that takes all of our endeavor, everything. And we have to be fully devoted forevermore to, pleasing Prabhupada. And that includes, and not includes, but it has to include the preaching mission. Because Prabhupada was only about that. He wasn't about any bhajan and any missions. Might be good for a very select, very, very few. But if you're thinking you're that few, you're probably wrong. So it really means preaching. And preaching, Prabhupada did say this, but I want to run with this full speed ahead, because Prabhupada said a lot of things, but he just said preaching means book distribution. So I know we have absolutely phenomenal what you all are doing here in Dallas. I heard there was 16 Bhakti Vriksha groups or something like that. Wow. Like you can plug into all these different places in gradual advancement. It's in nice management, nice everything. It's so wonderful. So don't want to change any of that. It's so beautiful. So we got to look at this like a cultural conquest. But at the same time, Prabhupada said book distribution must be given stress always. So from this book distribution, we can be thinking, we can be doing our japa and all these nice things and thinking we're really advanced. But subtly, there's so much mess. But if you're preaching full on, and that's your focus, then you just can't, you become aware of the mess. You become aware of the mess, and there's so much to do. There's so much to do. And for cleaning the heart, there's so much. And what am I advanced? No. Prabhupada's advanced. Prabhupada says, if he writes it somewhere, I can't remember, that if you have a material body, you should consider yourself a neophyte. That's the perspective we should have, right? So the danger is, well, how much time do I have? Till 8:30? Or when should I ask for questions? Okay, I'll wrap it up then. So we have to be very careful of this attitude. I was distributing books at Mount Rushmore, and this guy came up And you could tell he has a Christian vibe. I'm like, uh-oh, I just had like 3 more of those this week that one of them I had to call cops on. But I could tell this guy's a little different. Let me give him a chance. And all of a sudden, he's looking at the books, and all of a sudden he just goes, you know what? The real problem with Christianity is, the real problem with everything is Christianity. I'm like, he just like had a transformation right there, like full on. And he goes, you know, I've been a pastor for 25 years, and what we do is we have them accept Jesus, like you know, just stamp them, plug them out, put the money in there, and you know that's the problem with the world today. It's Christianity, you know. And he just lost it. He's just like ranting and raving. He says, you know, where's the love of God? Where's the love of God? I'm like, you came to the right place, man. Took all the books. And he was like just primed perfectly for the whole thing. I mean, it's not pure Christianity. This is pure Christianity. So I just want to make that clear. So, and he's looking for that. Finally, he just broke down. It was just had a moment where he just wants really, really God. He wants Krishna. So to want Krishna, we can't just say, hey, I've got Krishna, I got Krishna. You know, the 6 Goswamis aren't thinking, you know, I got Krishna, yeah, we got it. Yeah, come on over. No problem. We got Krishna. You don't have Krishna. No, they're thinking, where is Krishna? Where is he? Where is he? Where is Krishna? Always intensely worshiping Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Chanting, is he on the hill Govardhan? Is he under the trees in the bank of the Yamuna? Where is Krishna? You know, this is the mood. And how do we stay in this? How do we get this mood, and how do we stay in this mood? Preaching. Just add heavy-duty preaching into your life. Fill it, the whole life up with that. Such a nice devotee. He was so humble and wonderful, and is still wonderful. He said that he was preaching an enormous amount, tons of books going out, training up everybody, doing so much stuff. And then when he was reached like the age of 26 or 28, all energy just ended. He was no longer empowered. And he thought, what the heck's going on? Oh, I told Krishna I would give you my youth. So that was his desire, the desire. I'll give you my youth time, but not the older age. So he wasn't empowered. And then he realized that, and then he gave him forevermore. You know, once he realized that, wow, what a transition. So the desire to be a really true, pure devotee, and that only, right? Lord Chaitanya is giving us the formula. You know, my only prayer is to remain a pure devotee at your lotus feet, birth after birth. This is the desire we must cultivate. Not that I've got Krishna, I'm a pure devotee, it's all good, I got my teeth, I can do my japa. You know? So, but no. Every moment we have to be there. And when we max out the preaching, not too much, but you know, like have that fully in our mind forevermore, then there's no room for these weeds to grow. There's a greater interest for that poor person. That I remember going to LA airport, and in order to be as good as Vijay, I had to go out like 4 extra hours at the airport. So I come back at like 10 o'clock at night, and man, I'd be hurting, really hurting, doing this for like 20 days straight. But I remember walking back and looking at the In-N-Out burger place, packed, and some kid was there screaming. And it just felt like, I'm going to hell, help. You know, like that. That's the way I felt it was. And you know what? I realized my desire to help that person was stronger than the pain in my body. And not to brag or anything like that. I mean, I had one good moment in my life. And I remember thinking, that's good consciousness. We have to evoke that. It's there in our hearts, but it has to be evoked, awakened. And from there, everything can flow just so nicely. There's no impediments to our life. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm perfectly there all the time. So we have the sadhana bhakti, we have all the rules and regulations. We go out on book distribution or whatever when we want to or not, because we know that if I just force myself on that fire, that all that wonderful stuff's going to be awakened. So I'll stop there because leave room for questions. But in summary, we want to we have the perfect light, need to take advantage of it, and we need to cultivate the perfect pure desire. And in order to really do that, we have to get into the preaching mood. Have to. You can't jump from neophyte status to pure totally purified pure devotee. In between is preaching. It's a necessary step to get to the spontaneous state. Okay, I'll stop there. Any comments or questions? Yes, Prabhu?
My question is, what is the qualification for book distribution, Prabhuji? Like people, there are neophyte devotees. We are not thorough into the scriptures yet. So what is the qualification?
Here's the qualification. To feel that you're unqualified. That's your only qualification. If you feel like you're qualified, you're unqualified. And if you feel like you're unqualified, you're qualified to distribute books. That's it. There is no other qualification. I do recommend reading the books that you distribute, but even if you haven't read them, go out and distribute them. I mean, I remember reading Bhagavad Gita, and that's the only book I read of Prabhupada's, and Perfection of Yoga. And then I asked my temple president, what does this mean that he who is most dear to Krishna, who preaches his message? And my temple president, Dasrath Prabhu, fortunately told me, well, that means book distribution. So I just went to the book room, got any books I haven't even read, and started distributing them. And gradually I read them. So, I mean, there's no qualifications. Getting a little bit of training from somebody great like Vijay Prabhu will go a long ways. That'll help tremendously. And there's so many videos. If you don't have Vijay Prabhu around, then you can go out with people like that. Highly recommend Vaisheshika. There's so many videos. So learning, here's the right person to talk to answer that question. So, I mean, he has basically people like him are here to help people engage in devotion and book distribution, so am I. So, we're here to completely help and make it all happen.
Thank you.
It's all you have to do is feel unqualified. Just because you're around a lot. Sorry, this one here. You have I think he had a question.
Thank you, Prabhu. You mentioned about preaching and book distribution. I was thinking that sometimes when you're out doing that, it's easy to fall into the mindset of trying to get as many books out as possible, or trying to get result oriented. How many people can I, sell these books to? How many books can I get out? Or even if it's preaching, not book distribution, then there can be a thought that, just being attached to that result of the preaching. So, and one can do that for a long time and still not really have a transformation of heart. So, could you say something about that?
I don't know if I agree with that, just to be honest with you. It is a concern. It is a valid thing you're saying, but my experience is those people that say, I don't have to be attached to a result, just kind of lackadaisically go about it. You don't still see those people around very long. But that person that's just like, like Mahotsa Prabhu, he has to get these books out. He just has to, And he's very attached to results. And if I don't get to this point, and he gets to that point. That's his way of getting to that point. So that's good. At the same time, we do have to consider that, it's that Krishna is the ultimate doer. Okay, I'm an instrument for Krishna to use. I want to do it in a balanced way. That's definitely there. And if a result isn't there, we keep trying. But that also means if the result wasn't there, maybe what did I do wrong? Maybe I need some more training, maybe do a better job in the morning, so many things. So we want lots of books to go out. But, in my opinion, What has to come before a lot of books going out is leaving everybody with a favorable impression. In my opinion, that needs to be first. Then distribute as much mercy as you can. But if you meet that super interested one, like my guru, Radha Swami, I mean, they'd be, come on, get more books out. But, you know, he would just spend a lot of time with certain individuals, you know, and they become devotees. So it's wonderful also. So, you know, Krishna's in the heart, guides you throughout it. But the main thing is you don't want to be attached to results. No, let me back that up. I'd say at least when I started, I was very competitive when I was younger. So I said, okay, here's the charts, let me get on the top there, you know, and just work towards that as my goal, you know, rather than winning the Olympics or trying to win the Olympics or whatever, which was my goal before and many other things, you know, get my PhD and an Olympics and all that, and really just focus now, apply that in Krishna consciousness, like Arjuna fighting in the war. Okay, I'm filled with all these, you know, contaminants, but who cares? Let me just give it to Krishna. Let me use all these contaminations and dovetail them in Krishna's service. And along the way, the contaminations will get cleared out. So, as Navina Nirada Prabhu says, use everything as fuel. Use everything as fuel to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement. And if speaking for myself, I got a huge false ego, let me use that. Let me not deny it, just falsely deny it. Oh, I don't want to eat much prasadam today because, you know, I want to be really renounced and this and that. But then I have no extra energy to distribute any books. That's not real enunciation. So there's just some thoughts regarding all that, if that's cool. I would just try to spread the movement. You're going to get the mercy. Vijay Prabhu, I assume you want to make a comment. Here's the standard, the tuning fork of book distribution. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, you're going a bit too far there. Yeah, we could have some desire to serve Krishna in a certain way, but everything is left up to Krishna, as you said. There's actually a verse that says, devotees of the Lord do not think that the services they do are actions under their own control, but they are expressions of Krishna's supreme mercy. So whatever we're able to do is Krishna's mercy, and we can desire to do a certain, like Prabhupada, he had a desire to have 108 temples. He had that desire. He was sending devotees all over the world. He had that desire, and he was able to do it. So he was a little bit transcendental attachment to that. He wanted. Actually, there's one interesting pastime of Prabhupada, and one lady came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was visiting the temple, and she said, Prabhupada, I had a wonderful dream last night. I dreamt that everyone in the world was chanting Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada's eyes became so wide, and he smiled, he said, that is my desire. So Prabhupada wanted to save the whole world. So he tried his best, and he had some success.
Nice. I had yesterday, 2 days ago, at UTD, Achyuta Govinda Prabhu wanted to watch me distribute, so he came out, and nothing was happening. Yeah, usually the books fly and flow, and nothing was happening. And so he thought, well, maybe it's me. But I knew it wasn't him. It was just Krishna's desire, right? Just because I've been through this so many times. And so I just, patient, hang in there, keep doing my thing. And sure enough, this guy comes up that was so ripe for these books. And so, he said he's going to read every single page and on and on and on. And he really was smart and really interested. And he took the whole stack and gave a really nice donation. So even if books aren't flying, just hang in there, hang in there. We learned that, all your desires will be fulfilled on Sankirtan, right? It's in the 6 Shastika verses. Just have faith in that. And it will happen. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Even if it's your desire wasn't to have your, you thought your desire wasn't to be purified today, but you got purified, your false ego dropped a lot. So even that is a wonderful thing. Your true-hearted desire was that. Yes. Thank you, Vijay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you to both of you. Just a thought on his comment about how we can remember that we are not the doer. Actually, I remember on Sankirtan with some girls, you actually gave us a little lecture, and you mentioned this that stuck with me, that anyone can do this. It's not like I am the only one that can do this. If you just try to go and distribute, then Krishna helps the rest of the way. Whatever service that we're in, Krishna is giving us the strength to fulfill that service and to succeed or learn whatever happens from that. So that was just something that helps me remember that it's not like this is me doing. Anybody can do it if we just have the faith that Krishna is helping. So thank you for that also.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, really, truly. If people that know me know that I'm absolutely nobody special. Just have enough intelligence to go, okay, let's plug into this, and just plugging in, Krishna starts moving you around. That's it. That's it. It doesn't require a PhD or you got to be 10 feet tall and nothing. No, nothing. Anything. A little kid plugging in, same thing. Orangutan, same thing. Yes. Did you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. Any other comments or questions? Or you want to stop here? That'll be fine too. Yeah. Okay. I know we got pizza. What was it? That was pancakes. I'm sorry, but it's now something else. Cinnamon rolls. Wow. Oh yes, Prabhu. I'm sorry, I missed you.
No, it's okay.
But just
I first want to thank you very much. I gained some enthusiasm to preach Krishna consciousness and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, and I think that's the greatest gift. So thank you very much. My question is that this Krishna consciousness movement it can give us a great comfort. We got nice prasadam, we're dancing, we got nice music. And to go on book distribution quite often takes us going out of our comfort zone. So I'm curious, how do we get out of our comfort zone? Especially when we have such a nice situation in our lives. What pushes us?
Well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote the Jaiva Dharma, and within that it says, if you want to get to the spontaneous state where you have pure love of God, if you want to get there from where we're at, you have to get into duty mode. I'm sorry, Vijay Prabhu, you're like duty mode personified. He's so steady for so many years. He just does it. He just keeps doing it and kept doing it and doing it. He just does it. Whether he wants to or not, he does it. This we have to do. We have to get into that mode.
Did you say duty mode?
Duty, D-U-T-Y. And I got a cool acronym with duty in it. You want to hear it? I hope I can remember it. So Prabhupada, he's on the ship about to arrive in America, right? We have that arrival address. So that's a good thing to meditate upon. So D is desire. I desire that they're liberated. All these people, I desire that they're liberated. U, I am unqualified. I have no qualifications. None. I'm never ever going to have any. Never. If I ever think I'm going to have one, then I've become qualified. To that degree, I'm unqualified, for sure. And the potency won't be there. So I'm unqualified. D-U-T. What was T? T. Duty. So I desire them to be liberated, and I'm unqualified. T. Well, we're going to get to Y. I'm sorry. Hopefully I remember the T. Y, your holy name. I have full faith in you, Krishna, and your holy names. Hopefully remember T before in a minute or two. Tolerance? Yeah, probably. Let me tolerate. Maybe. I think. Well, that's kind of like the your part. If we were to read that, not that we have time for that, but you'll find something in there that would be like the T. That's an important verse. It might be one of those two, honestly. It's a good guess, at least. And so back to your theme. What is it?
How do we get out of our
comfort zone? So got to get into that mood of duty. I just do it. It's just on my schedule to do. And whether I want to or not. What does my want have to do with anything? What does it have to do with anything? It's Krishna's want. Just surrender to Krishna's want. Just no matter what you got in your conditioning in your mind and everything, you just do it. Then all of a sudden, you're like, thank God I came out here. Within moments, right? You go out and you're like, I don't really want to go out. Oh man, it's so cold. And you get a million excuses. But you just do it, and within seconds, once that first book goes out, you're like, wow, thank God I came out here. Wow. I realized this yesterday. I never do japa when I'm at the table, almost always. But yesterday, I didn't have many rounds done in the morning. So I brought my japa beads out, and it got slow. So I started circumambulating the temple doing my japa. And I was shocked at how good this japa was, how much taste I got it. From having a table there, relating it with preaching. Now, if I were to be in the van and chant, no way. Not nearly the same. So just read, you're going to read the books, you're going to do your japa, just go out, put a table somewhere and just read away. I'm going to read out here today. And I'm going to do my japa out here today. And here comes somebody up. It's going to be a whole different ballgame. Whole different ballgame. Really, I just read and chant, so let me just chant and read there. Yeah. Literally, I just put the sign up and I just read. Yeah. Somebody comes up, okay, hey there. And then give them a compliment. Yeah. Welcome to the magic table. That's my first line. Welcome to the magic table. Hey, you look like a higher conscious, good vibe guy. Yeah, monks trying to help the world, or just spiritual. And then they came up because they're interested. It's easy.
Just go read and do japa next to your book table.
Yeah. Okay. Rather than here in your room, I remember Dhanavir Goswami, he said something really cool and important when we were at Mayapur festival. He says the people out there doing the Harinam are more Krishna conscious than the people inside doing the Mela, Kirtan Mela. He says they're getting more nectar. Their chanting is better. Yeah.
And a few others. Chakri Prabhu, he does Harinam on Sunday, and there's huge potential for book distribution over there.
There it is.
Sunday at 3 o'clock.
Jai.
And and that 2 hours of preaching before the Sunday program is so ecstatic. But years ago, we used to have Dharma and a few others. They would lead the Harinam in Deep Ellum and all over, and we just, I don't know what happened. We just don't go now, and maybe now it'll start.
Well, let me ask you this: because somebody who's at least somewhat interested, at least in distributing books, when Vijay and I aren't going to be around here, who would be that person to go to actually learn about that? And Achyuta Govind. So is that okay? People are interested in book distribution. They go see him. Is that good?
That's wonderful.
Okay. So they know where to go. You know where to go, right? You just go, and he'll know how to get the books.
Yes.
Gives him basics as how to distribute books, as tips perhaps you would like, and things like that, or where to go, and like that. He can help with that. Okay, cool.
We have Jagaranga Prabhu, who's got many years of experience also.
Yeah, super.
He's definitely someone you can ask for help. But yeah, Achyuta Govinda Prabhu, he's been for many years helping to kind of lead up book distribution in Dallas, and so there's quite a large team of devotees that go out to different stores and different places and festivals and things like that. So yeah, he'll definitely be able to get you the books and help you get going for sure. We have to say it on the mic because there's people listening online.
I was just saying Nityananda Trayadashi is coming up. So if anyone is interested, we can do an Harinam and Deep Ellum that day evening. Wednesday evening.
When is that?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Wonderful. Thank you. All right.
I just want to say something
Yes,
quick
please.
about this question. Kesava Swami, some of you might, I think he came here. He said we have to learn to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So austerity is the wealth of the Brahmanas. And Krishna says if one does not perform austerity, one cannot be happy in this life or the next. So it's a little, going out on book distribution is a little uncomfortable. The mind doesn't like it, but the soul likes it. The soul likes it. So that's just a thought. And then when I was in Houston recently, the temple president there said that there's an ongoing competition between Houston and Dallas. So Houston is way ahead of you guys in book distribution. So you gotta get some. Let the competition continue. Yeah.
Right on.
Book distribution.
I took a little break in Tucson for just a little while because I had to catch up on stuff. But then I thought, how am I going to continue with this book distribution? I'm 59 and this and that, and I just got into duty mode, went out, and I had to drive all the way from Tucson to Dallas, a couple schools in between. It was a lot. How am I going to be able to do this? But just doing it, I was shocked. I was empowered. I mean, Krishna was just driving the thing and setting up the books and just books just flying out. It's like, wow, I'm not the doer. You just have that desire. Krishna will just empower you. It's amazing. And it's fun. It's the most fun. Then I thought, thank God I left. Oh man, stay at my sister's house. She's got some nice place to stay, in the mountains. And oh wow, it's so peaceful. Oh, but I'm so glad I left. So happy. Anyway, some thoughts. We probably ought to stop there. Oh, yes, Brew, real quick. Oh, yes, Brew. Not quick.
Yeah, I was just had a question about chanting at the book table. Not a lot of people understand, especially the Americans, what are these beads. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, I never chant at the book table because people think they're already like, is this safe? Is this okay? And it's like going, like, I don't know. I just cautious about it. I usually don't, but I read. Reading's totally cool. I personally don't chant at the book table unless I really need to. Just throwing that out there. The less red flags, the better in their minds. But maybe